Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Women in Tolling October program. I'm Terry Slack, and I'm the chair of the Women in Tolling Program Committee. Women in Tolling's mission is connecting women in tolling globally, supporting diversity and leadership, and promoting professional development. This month, we decided to host a program on mindfulness. With all the stresses this year, and with the wind down of this election year, we decided some de-stressing techniques are needed and warranted. I'm happy to introduce Debra Mishalove. Debra is the creative director and founder of Flow Yoga Center, a wellness studio in Washington, D.C. Flow has been featured in the Washington Post, New York Times, and NPR, and serves yoga, fitness, and meditation programs to over 1,000 people, now virtually, each week with the mission of offering well-being, spiritual nourishment, and balance into their daily lives. Debra lives in Washington, D.C. with her husband, 2 little boys, and 1 huge dog. Thank you, Debra, for joining us today. I'll turn the program over to you.
Hi, everyone. I am so glad to see so many of you taking time out of your day on a Monday to join.
Hey, Debra, I think we lost your sound.
Hi.
Or I lost your sound.
Yeah. So
Right.
I'll say that again. My name is Debra, as you know, and we're going to get started with one of my best tips to find some peace and calm and mindfulness, and that's to take a breath. So together, go ahead and take a huge breath in and exhale that out. Let it go. Open the mouth and let the breath come out. Do that one more time. Take a big breath in. And exhale, go ahead and let that go. You might notice that you feel a little calmer after that. And we're going to be talking for a few moments before we start a moving practice, and then we'll end the practice in a meditation. So I'm going to share my screen. And while I do that, I want to invite you to grab a pen and piece of paper if it's nearby. If not, you could just make some mental notes in your head. But if you do have one available, go ahead and get a pen and paper. There's not much you're going to need for this class today. I always like to have a little glass of water nearby, and no yoga mat is needed, but we will be sitting down either in the chair or on the floor when we start a moving practice, and also standing. So if there's some space around your desk, okay? So I'll get my screen shared, and I invite you guys to get your pen and paper ready. Okay, so throughout this presentation, I'm going to give little tips on how to find peace and calm. And I like to say peace and calm right now because it's something that I want you to remember, even when things are stressed, when you're standing online, socially distanced, getting ready to vote, or about to go into a big meeting. There's things that you could do to access that peace and calm, like we just did that breath. Another tip that I have, so my #1 tip these days is cozy clothes. I'm not sure if you've seen, the trending nap dress or sweatpants or socks as we get a little colder in the winter. It actually calms the body to have cozy clothes on, right? One thing, especially as it gets cold out, is to have a scarf around your neck. That helps activate, believe it or not, something called the parasympathetic nervous system to feel a little bit of a weight around your neck, and can help make you feel a little bit more de-stressed, less anxious. Same thing if you're sitting on a couch or even at your desk chair, having a blanket over your lap could be super helpful. So I'm going to go through a couple hacks, peace hacks I call them, that only take 5 seconds. So you could do them anytime, really. My first one is having some kind of essential oil, or we call it aromatherapy, nearby. You've probably seen when you're shopping, like different kinds of essential oils. I love lavender, rosemary, any kind of citrus smell. Doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be expensive. This bottle's like $6. Take a smell from it, and it immediately can activate, again, that parasympathetic nervous system to give you some peace and calm. Another trick, especially as we're getting into fall, is to boil some water on your stove and put in vanilla or cinnamon, or even that chocolate chip cookie smell. Have you ever gone house hunting? You'll notice sometimes it's a trick that they do. They put chocolate chip cookies in the oven while you're house hunting. So you walk into the house and you're like, ah, this feels really good, because it does, right? Our smell really can trigger senses of relaxation in the body. Another tip that I have is breath. So we did one kind of breath when we first started. I want to teach you another breath that you can do right now. It's called the 4-7-8 breath. So find a comfortable seat wherever you are. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can stay there, maybe slide back so you can feel the chair behind you. If you want to move from the chair to the floor to feel the ground beneath you, you can do that too. Go ahead and close your eyes. You don't need to see me right now. And take a few breaths. On your next breath in, you're going to inhale to the count of 4, and I'll count for you. So take a breath, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and now hold that breath. We're going to try to go till 7. So we have a few more holds here. And then exhale it double time from the inhale. So you're going to exhale out to 8. So letting that exhale go really slow. And if it's possible, you'll breathe in and out through your nose as you do this. So let's try this again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then exhale, clear that out. Let your eyes open, and I invite you to notice how you're feeling. Sometimes you need to adjust that count. Maybe it will be inhale, 3, 6, and exhale 8. So find something that you're comfortable with. But the idea is that you have a really long exhale, and then you're able to hold and suspend that breath for a moment. The next one is a balloon breath. So I'll step back. You'll take your hands and you'll place them on your belly. And as you inhale, imagine that you're filling your breath. So you're sending the breath directly to your belly and you're filling it up like a balloon. So making it as wide as you can with the breath. And you'll hold it for a moment, and then you'll exhale, deflating the belly slowly, 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 as if you were letting air slowly out of a balloon. And you can keep your hands there so you can feel the breath filling and releasing. So that's called a belly breath. So both of those breaths are great tricks to reduce stress and anxiety. And for those of you who have kids or anyone that that might be dealing with anxiety, both of these breaths are excellent practices to share with them. Another 5-second peace hack that I love is using energy in your hands to create a sense of calm. So you'll take your palms and then you'll begin to rub them together. So go ahead and do that. And you'll notice when you do that, you'll feel the friction starts to warm the palms. And then you get to choose where those palms go. I love placing my palms on my heart. I have my glasses on, but when my glasses are off, another place is right on my face. So do that once or twice. So you're going to warm the hands and then choose a place on your body where you want to bring that warm, calming energy. Good. Okay, a couple more tricks we're going to go through. We'll do one more with the hands, okay? So take your right palm and you're going to place it over your heart. So you're going to spread the palm wide and your left hand will go on top. You'll drop your chin to the chest and you'll feel the back of your neck getting long, right? Not only does this give the muscles in our neck a break, but once more, this activates the system in our body that says, hey, it's okay to relax. Again, it's called the parasympathetic nervous system. It's nothing you ever have to remember, but you'll just notice when you draw your chin into your chest and you support yourself with the pressure of your hands, your palms on your heart, that you might feel a little bit more at ease. And keeping the hands on the heart, you can lift your chin. You'll notice you could massage the heart, making small circles clockwise or counterclockwise. Take a few breaths and do this with your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. Good. Another favorite tip that I have, and you may have heard that I mentioned this at the beginning of class when we were doing our breath, is to ground. So you can bring your feet to the ground, preferably with no shoes, but shoes are fine, and let your feet rest heavy on the floor beneath you. That helps you feel more connected and lowers any anxiety in the body. And you may have even heard that there's this thing called grounding, and it can be helpful for depression, and it can be helpful for anxiety and really unease in the body. And the suggestion of what grounding is that you actually walk outside on a grassy area with bare feet to connect to the energy of the earth. So it might sound a little woo-woo, but you never know, you can try it, right? So now when I go outside to take my garbage out at night, I sometimes take my shoes off so I could get some grounding in. Who knows, right? Same thing outside. There's a meditation practice called blue sky meditation. And it's really helpful, especially as we change seasons and the days are getting darker. We are not getting as much sun. Vitamin D is so good for you, so good. It's great for your immune system. And of course, you can get some vitamin D supplements if you ask your doctor and that's appropriate, but just being under the sky, under the sun. So the idea of a blue sky meditation is to find a patch of sky without too many, things distracting from this color blue in front of you, and gaze at the sky. You could do this for 5 seconds. So it's called a blue sky meditation. So it's another way that you can really control just any anxious feelings. See how that works for you. You could do that once a day, and you might find that's helpful. And we're going to move on to the next slide in a moment, but I wanted to leave you with another tip, and that's gratitude. So you may have heard people using this technique when they wake up in the morning, they write down a few things that they're grateful for. Doesn't work for me. I never seem to have a pen near my desk, and I like the idea, but it's not always there for me. But you can, instead of writing it, just think when you wake up, one thing you're grateful for. You definitely don't have to write it down, but it's so nice to acknowledge that. And what really helps, what helps to sort of clear away angst that you might be holding on to, is if you could find a way to find a way to give somebody, especially somebody you're in conflict with, a wish for wellness. So if there's someone in your life, and sort of the other side of this gratitude thing, if there's someone in your life that you might have an argument with, or somebody you're in conflict with that you might not even know, maybe you've seen somebody on TV that's really, especially it's so contentious right now with the election, right? You just put your hands on your heart and you wish them well. You wish them well. And that helps take the anger, the angst out of you and gives you a little bit more peace and space. That's one of the hardest ones, but it really can be helpful. I'll go to the next slide. Okay, so this is where the pen and paper come in handy. Every day we have a choice, right, of something. There's a lot of things we don't have a choice, but a choice in how we're going to react to something. And also a choice in how we're going to take care of ourselves. And a lot of times, these choices are quick fixes. We're tired in the afternoon, we grab that cup of coffee, or we're super hungry, so we grab that, snack bar that probably has 100 grams of sugar in it, right? So we want to make it really easy for you to think of things that might be choices that fill you up, nourish you, and actually contribute to your well-being, and see what those choices look like versus some of the choices, I put that on my list where you see it says exhausted. So the things that I choose that really, what we say is deplete me, they deplete my energy, they deplete my patience with my kids, they deplete my ability to be super creative and calm when I'm working. So I want you to take your piece of paper out, and on one part of the paper, write exhausted, and the other vibrant, right? And I want you to write down 3 or 4 things that you feel like might even be habitual for you, that you think may be a choice that is not contributing to your nourishment, that maybe you want to practice letting go of or giving up or just considering, right? And we'll make another choice with the vibrant list. So you'll say vibrant and things that create some vibrancy for you. So go ahead and start with the exhausted list. Like, just think of some of the things that you may do that might not make you feel that great, but you are just doing them anyway. One other for me is, I'm always looking at my phone before I go to sleep at night, right? Instead of reading a poem or thinking of something I'm grateful for or having a calm conversation with my husband. So that would definitely be things that just don't fill me up, that deplete me. So go ahead and take a few moments to make your 2 lists. And I want to actually invite you to drop something in the chat that you feel encourages you to feel more vibrant. The other day I was talking to a friend, she said she makes her bed in the morning, like it's a win. It's a win because she does it in the morning and feels great. And when she comes home, even if she had a lousy day, she sees her bed and she's like, I did have something work for me today. Like, my bed's neat and it's made, right? So think of a couple of those things, and I'd love to see if anyone will share something on their list in the chat. Yeah, flowers in the garden, walking the dog and listening to music. And your dog, that feels good for the farmer's market. Yeah, warm water. That's a great one. What are other things that fill your cup? Oh, I love that one. Stopping to listen to your kids laugh, especially now, hearing kids' laughter is so beautiful. Zoom with distant friends. Great. If you can't see the chat, cooking a healthy meal, morning meditation, even a little, Sunday brunch with grown children, talking to my daughter and asking her about school, a hot bubble bath. Yes. Great. These are awesome. And how about a couple things, because this sort of helps us make a shift even by thinking about it or noticing. What are some things that you may be doing right now that feel depleting, that maybe you'd like to work on letting go of and fill up with more of these, like cooking healthy meals and brunch, phone at night in bed? Yeah, that's a huge one. I have a friend who actually puts her phone to bed in another room, responding to emails and texts 24/7. Yep. And that kind of has this spiral effect. If you send someone a text at 10 o'clock, they're like, oh no, I have to work and answer this person, right? Social media, there's some great apps on the phone to cut down on social media, right? And then we get in that whole comparison mode, and somebody's making this perfect sourdough and you don't even know what sourdough starter is, right? TV, yeah, especially right now, staying up too late. Good. Thank you for sharing these. Yep, checking the damn phone all the time. No, there's some really cool apps that you can use to limit social media. Taking Facebook off your phone can really help, right? So then you don't even have the choice. Good. Well, thank you for sharing those. And I hope when you look at your vibrant list that that brings me to one of my last tips is there's a woman from Yale who studied happiness, and especially right now, like what can help us feel happier. And it's what she says is double down on what's working well. So you double down on it. If baking a nice meal, works for you on a Monday, maybe, do that on a Friday also. If you have a Zoom call and it feels really good with a family member and, you think, oh, I should do it again. Yes, do it again. Why don't you have a weekly schedule with that family member where you do have a Zoom call? So anything that's really working now, do more of. So we're going to switch now into our movement portion of the class. So I want you to start by finding a comfortable seat. Wherever you are, again, you can sit on the floor if you have a couch. Get comfortable. Maybe take a sip of water before we start. And I want to invite you to do that practice we did before with rubbing the palms together. And this time we're going to bring them in a special space. Right? So one hand is going to go on your chest, and you're going to take the other hand and place it on your belly. You don't need to see me right now. So if the computer's not right in front of you, great. You have one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. And the invitation now is to close your eyes. Take a few breaths here, breathing into your palms so you'll feel your chest expanding. You'll feel your belly expanding. And then let that go. The breath comes in, it fills us, and then we release it. And there's space. If you'd like to set an intention for our practice right now, maybe a way that you'd like to feel or something you'd like to share with someone else today, let that intention rise for you. And then lower your hands by your side, and I'll step back so you can see me. If you are seated, I want to invite you to come to a standing position and spread your feet apart so they're more than hip distance apart, and put a soft bend in your knees. So instead of locking your knees, there's a soft bend. You can have little tiny movements of bending and moving towards straight, but not exactly straight, to find that softness. So knees are bent, arms, fingers are loose. On an inhale, you'll keep the knees bent. You're going to lift your arms out by your side and let them float over your head, reaching your fingertips towards the ceiling. And then on an exhale, you're going to turn your palms down and lower them super, super slow, maybe even synchronizing the exhale with the movement in your arms. So the exhale finishes, the arms come by the side. The inhale begins, the arms begin to rise, continuing with that long inhale till the arms reach to the top. And then the exhale begins the descent down, arms lower by your side. And do that a few more times, synchronizing your breath with the movement, creating a sense of coherence within the body and the space around us. Our body and our spirit and our minds, we love finding balance. Balance helps calm things down. When we're in a balanced state, we're able to be more creative, adaptable. So creating a sense of rhythm with your inhale and your exhale. If you need to speed it up a little bit to catch up with your breath, you can do that. Or if you need to slow it down and stretch your breath, that's there for you too. Lower your gaze. I'll let you know if we change movements. So you can Really turn inward now. We're entraining the body and the mind and practicing finding balance. So this is a move that you can do. You might not do this one online at the bank, though you can, or at the grocery store. Okay. But if you're sitting at your desk and you need to pause and recollect and work through some tension, just take this moment to lift and lower your arms, synchronizing breath and movement. Changing direction now. We're going to lift the arms forward. So reaching forward and all the way up on the inhale, and then out, palms down alongside. Lower your gaze or close your eyes. We'll continue this 3 more times. So inhaling forward. Exhale out and down. Inhale forward. Exhale out and down. Inhale forward. This time on the way up, you're going to keep the arms up. I'm going to bend a little so you can see. You're going to bend your right elbow, and you're going to take your left hand and place it on the elbow. And I'll show you from the side. My fingertips are reaching towards my back. And stay here for a few breaths. You can shift from side to side if that feels good, or stay completely still. And then reach both hands up. And then that same arm, we're going to stretch in another way. So you'll reach that right arm out and you'll cross it over your body, right? So you're just crossing the arm, and then you could take that left hand to have a little bit of a deeper stretch. And you can see my fingertips are reaching left. I'm mirroring you guys. And then you'll look over your right shoulder. No need to see the screen right now. And for those of you who are standing and really wanted to sit today during this practice, you can certainly do this seated. So we're staying here with the fingertips reaching to the left, gazing over to the right. Find a few breaths here, even, steady breaths. And then reach both arms back up. So release and lift. And that same right arm, you're going to reach the arms out, and then that right arm is going to go underneath the left. You're going to cross at the elbows, and some of you might stay right here and hold on to either shoulder. Some of you might tighten that a little bit, right? So you have a choice. The right arm's the one that's underneath. Wherever you choose, begin to make circles. They can be clockwise or counterclockwise. And again, I have that soft bend in my knee. If you need to straighten them a little bit, that's fine. But I want to invite you, even though we're moving the arms and we're breathing and there's a lot to focus on, remembering that we're supported by the ground, whether you're standing on carpet, floors, a yoga mat. So if you can, spread your toes wide, with or without shoes, doesn't matter. See if you could feel the fullness of your feet actually connecting, grounding, like you're planting your feet. You can take this into little twists. And then reach your arms up and let them go. Take some shoulder rolls, so exaggerate this movement. Again, I'm having a soft bend in my knees. And then take the shoulder rolls in the opposite direction. sweep the arms up. We'll get the left side now. So you'll bend at the elbow, and then you'll take the right hand on top of the elbow and maybe lengthen through the chest, wide open space through the heart center. You can let your chin drop down to your chest if that feels good. Enjoy a few breaths here. And then reach your arms up and lower them down by the side. And then you're going to take that same left arm and sweep it across. You could hold on here or bring it a little closer with the right arm, however it is you want to hold. And then my left hand is reaching to the right, and I'm going to look over my left shoulder so I can stretch the side of my neck. Nothing to see here, so you can close your eyes and take a few breaths. And release, lower the arms down. And then that same arm, we'll do like we did before. The left arm goes under, you make a little knot. You can either hold either shoulder. You can drop your gaze down so your forehead bows down. You can make those circles or sweeping action with the arms. And go ahead and release. And let your left hand hang heavy. Reach your right arm up and over, catching the left ear. And you're not putting too much pressure, but there's a connection happening. And you'll let your right ear root down towards the right shoulder. You can gaze down for a moment to notice where you feel that in your neck. Look out or maybe even look up slightly. So the left arm can stay where it is. If you want to feel a deeper sensation, you can extend that left arm out. Find a few breaths here. So this is the practice in yoga, over and over, and in mindfulness. You might hear the teacher say, go ahead and do this, and then you get set up in this position. And then the mind does what the mind does, which is typically wander or think thoughts. And the direction then is to find your breath once more. Find the inhale and find the exhale. So over and over, it becomes this practice, anchoring yourself in the present moment. Go ahead and get ready to switch. Both arms come down. You can sweep the arms up to prepare. And then let the right arm go soft and the left arm, or the left hand reaches over the right ear. You can practice breathing soft, steady breaths here. And if you notice a thought coming in, you could, instead of engaging in the conversation with the thought or traveling down wherever that thought wants to take you, you could simply say, I'm having a thought. I'm going to return to my breath. I'm inhaling and I'm exhaling. And that's how it goes. That's the practice. And release. Both arms come down. You can roll the shoulders out. And begin to shake things out. So I'm shaking out my wrists, my ankles. See how course, you could do this if you're seated also, just rolling through, moving circulation. And you're going to place your hands on your hips. So hopefully you'll stand for this one. And we don't have a fast beat music going right now, right? But we're going to find a rhythm. There's a bend and switch sides. You can let your gaze go down. Moving into some work in the hips. So I'm not sure about you guys, but during Corona time when there's not as many places to go, it's nice to take those long walks, but I think a lot of us are spending more time seated, right? So to counteract that and bring balance into the body, we want to move the body in ways that doesn't take shape of that seat, right? Right. So when we're sitting, so you could keep going back and forth. We're here and we actually have muscles that connect our upper and lower body. Yeah. And as we sit and sit and sit, they get tighter. They actually get stronger, but stronger in this way that it could make us go forward a little bit like this over time. So we want to find ways to switch that up. And you can begin to move your arms here. Just step out, sweeping the arms forward. We can't see too well. You could see me, but I can't see you. So I hope you're doing something that's making you smile right now as you're finding a rhythm, probably better than mine. You can reach the arms up. So bringing in some circulation. So another thing on that list that I had, that's 5 seconds to peace and calm. If we could extend that maybe to 3 minutes. Another great tip to bring some joy, some happiness, is to turn on your favorite song and dance, right? And it's that whole dance like nobody's watching. That's the kind of dance that we're inviting you to do when you do that. Good, and then finish off by sweeping the arms forward. Maybe moving a little faster right now. We're coming towards the finish line before we get into some yoga poses for the hips. Okay, and hands back on the hips. And let your feet find their way to that rooted position on the ground. And bring your weight into your left foot, your left leg. And you're going to come onto your right toes, right? So the right toes are like a kickstand. And some of you may stay here and just feel that opening in the hip. If you'd like, you can come into what we call tree pose. It's especially nice, right? So you can bring the foot all the way up, halfway, or keep it low. It's especially nice if you have a wall or a chair nearby to give you some support in the tree. This is a great place to gather the palms. Just check on your balance. If you come out, just come right back in. You could do that heart massage right here. This is tree pose. Different variations for the arms, right? To challenge the balance. So if you're perfectly still and you're like, I'm nailing this tree pose, that's the exact time to change it up so you can keep growing and finding ways to recruit balance. So transitioning from tree, you're going to bring your knee up towards your chest. And I'm going to move to the side, but I'll show you the initial move. You're going to step forward into a lunge. I'll turn so you can see. Step forward into a lunge. Hands can go on the hips. And you're bending and straightening your right leg. Then you're going to sweep your arms up and lower them down. Sweep your arms up, and then you're going to interlace your fingers and reach them up and open the chest here. Take a few breaths in, and you can have a deeper bend in your front knee. You can feel the left side of your hip, your psoas, start to get a stretch. we're going to stay here for about 3 more breaths, and I want to show you, so you're going to stay in this pose, what it could look like with a chair. And I'll go this way. So if you have the support of your chair, you would simply take your right leg over the chair, and you could sit in your chair and do this pose. It's like chair gymnastics. So a couple more breaths here. And then lower the hands down. You'll step back, both feet together, and we'll switch sides. So getting ready for the tree pose, starting with that kickstand. And finding your way, wobbling through. So what's really cool about this practice is we make these shapes with the bodies and we practice these breathing techniques. And it's a way to influence our inner state of how we feel, how we show up, and how we react. So when we feel like, oh, I'm balanced, I'm feeling balanced physically, or my breath is feeling balanced, we'll start to reflect that from an emotional place, right? So we know how, we can't always change how we're feeling inside, right? So we work from the outer, from the body and from the breath in. And sometimes we trick ourselves into finding some equanimity. Press your right hand into your left if you are ready to take your hands up. Have a few more breaths, finding balance in the shape you're making and finding a few balancing breaths. Okay, then we're going to switch. So you're going to take that big step forward into your lunge shape. Your arms are going to go up and then lower them down by your side. Go ahead and sweep up and lower. And sweep up and lower. And if you like that motion with the arms, you can stay with it. Remember, we interlaced the fingers here and we found a back bend and a heart opener here. The thoughts will come in and then let them go and find your breath once more. Release your arms and take a giant step forward or back to let the feet meet again. And you're going to step or hop your feet out. I'm going to step behind my mat and turn your toes away from each other and sit down. We call this goddess pose. So the toes are turned out, the knees are over the ankles. Then you can lift your arms up and bend the elbows and open the elbows far apart and back. And then you'll round and bring the forearms, elbows towards each other. And I'll show you what it looks like from the side. So there's this opening and then this sealing in. You can even round your spine to find that seal. Find the breath now. Inhaling as you open, exhale as you close. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Bring your hands back to your hips. Step your feet together. And if you practiced yoga before and you know how to do a sun salutation, to come down onto your hands and knees, you can join me or else find your own way down to the floor. You're going to come onto your hands and knees into what we call a table position. So wherever you need to get there, whatever you need to do to get there. So you can tuck your toes under, spreading the toes apart, and let your wrists come underneath your shoulders. We'll use that same breath pattern before. We'll inhale, scoop the belly up and look up. And then exhale, you'll round your spine. Your chin's gonna draw into your chest and you're gonna hollow the belly. Inhale, gaze is up, heart lifts. Exhale, round the spine, draw your belly in. I want to invite you to do this 3 or 4 more times. And this is one of my favorite practices to teach people who haven't done yoga before. It's so helpful to move the spine. And in fact, as we age, our spine gets a little bit more, there's less fluid, less suppleness, less flexibility. And guess what? We can counteract that by movement. So movement actually feeds and lubricates the spine. So this is one of the best moves you can do. And you can imagine you could also do this seated in a chair. We call this cat-cow pose. So moving and lubricating the spine to keep it supple and strong. Do 2 more. And then find a neutral spine. And you're going to come but you'll come into a seat. You can extend your legs out in front of you. I have a cushion here. You can grab a pillow and sit on the cushion if you need to elevate your hips to find more comfort on the floor, or just take a seat at your desk. Reach your arms up now. And again, you can cross your legs or leave them hanging. You're going to twist. So this is another way to bring movement into the spine through the twist. And come back and we'll catch the other side in a twist. Now I want to invite you to take any last movements you need before we settle into a meditation. And you can do this meditation lying on the floor. That's my recommendation. If you happen to have space near your desk on your rug, you're only going to need to hear my voice. We won't be making any shapes. If you are sitting in a desk chair, see if you could find a way, maybe put some books underneath your feet so your feet are connecting if they're not touching down on the ground. There's a couch. The idea is to get comfortable. Get as comfortable as you can for your meditation. And preparing for this meditation, go ahead and close your eyes. Once more, find the rhythm and the pace of the breath. Bring it into balance. Begin to observe the physical sensations of your body as you settle in. Just making any adjustments to the feet, your palms. Find stillness. Now notice the sensation of your feet. Just allowing your focus to rest on your feet, wherever they may be. Same thing with your legs. Just bringing your attention to your legs, noticing any sensations happening in your legs. And your hips. Notice your shoulders, if they're tight and tense near the ears. See if you can move them apart to find space. as you breathe, notice if you can create space in the spine, from the top of the spine to the bottom. Now that the body is organized and ready, I invite you to notice any sensation you may be feeling on your skin, maybe the temperature of your skin, a breeze coming in from outside. If there's a window that's cracked open, the feeling of your clothes on your skin, or maybe the texture of the carpet or mat beneath you. Getting quiet enough maybe that you could begin to observe or notice the flow of the breath and where it lifts and lowers the body, or sensing the beating of your heart. And asking yourself, where am I noticing sensation right now in my body? Just observe, no judgment. There's no right or wrong. It's simply noticing what's happening in this very moment for you in your body. Now bring your awareness to the sounds that you're hearing and noticing around you. I invite you to let your hearing rest on the sound that you can hear furthest away. Maybe it's the sound of traffic in the street, birds, the wind. See if you can trace your awareness to a distant sound. Now bring that sound in a little closer, finding a sound that's closer by. It might even be a sound that you're making, maybe the breath, the sound of your heart, maybe the sound of you swallowing. Now begin to notice any thoughts that are arising for you, any chatter that's happening in the mind. It's said that we have between 50 and 70,000 thoughts running through our mind in any given day, and that there's a huge percentage of those thoughts that are repetitive. Some of those thoughts we've been thinking for weeks, for months. Some of these thoughts we've been thinking for years. Without judgment, just noticing any thoughts that are rising for you. Is there a thought that's loud, recurring? No judgment. Just noticing what is it that you hear and what is it that you're noticing right now. And now once more, like we've been doing throughout the practice, bring your awareness to your breath. Begin to notice the inhale as it's rising up. Maybe you can feel the air coming in through your nostrils. Maybe exhaling, releasing the breath from the nostrils. You may observe that there's a temperature or coolness as you breathe in. And it gets processed through the body, and when you exhale, you might notice it's a little warmer. And we'll begin to move the breath like we did that balloon breath at the beginning of our conversation today. So when you inhale, send the breath right to the belly and fill it up like a buoyant, happy balloon. And then go ahead and let it out really slow. Take a big inhale, fill the breath up. And exhale, let that breath go. Continue that breath in and out. And just remember, the thoughts may come. That's what they do. And you're just replacing the thoughts and your attention on these thoughts with your focus on the breath. And that is the practice. There's nothing else that's supposed to be happening right now. We're going to add a count to the inhale in a super simple way. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. Inhale. Exhale, 4. Continue on your own all the way up till 10. If you lose count, absolutely no problem. You'll just return back to the count of 1. Becoming curious about the breath. Noticing the quality of the breath. Does it feel silky and smooth? Or is there any place that it feels rigid or hard? And if you find any anxiety is rising or you're feeling challenged, come back to that practice of placing a hand on the heart and the other palm on top, calming our nervous system, and as a way to create compassion for ourselves and for this moment that we're experiencing. These last few moments, come into stillness. You can release the counting of your breath. Bring your hands now to a prayer position in front of your chest, honoring the effort that you put forth today to nurture your mind and your spirit and your body. Let's close the practice with a breath together. Go ahead and experience a full breath in, the biggest breath that you've had yet today. And then slowly, slowly let that breath go. You can allow your eyes to float open. And once more noticing the room around you. Even settling your gaze on the screen to connect with me for a moment. And if you'd like, you can turn your screen on so you can share a moment with those who just had a practice with you. And I'd love for you to put one more chat in the chat box of something nice that you'd like to do for yourself this week. There were so many good ideas out there. If you're able to commit to just one, I'd love to see what it is, and I'm sure it would inspire others. So it's so nice to see you, everyone we've been practicing with for this past hour. And that concludes our practice. More yoga. That's great, Mary. deep breaths. That's such an easy one, just to take that deep breath. It has a direct effect on our nervous system, right? You can't beat it. And it's absolutely free. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
This has been a very informational and calming session, and now we
Good.
know how to decompress throughout the day.
Yeah. Awesome.
If I could do, thank you. If I could do a little look ahead for next month, December 7th. Our program is Managing Your Career with Intentionality with Marcia Clark, executive coach and independent consultant. Learn more about that event and how to participate in Women in Tolling. Please go to ibtta.org. Thank you, everyone, for sharing time with us today. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.